Right. 7:30. Good. We YouTube's good.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for everyone's patience with us. We are calling the July meeting to order. First up on the agenda is HTWO Properties Resolution. Oh. Do we have so we got to fill in the date there. Yeah.
I sent you, did you get the?
I have it in front of me.
Okay, let me get mine now.
So this was a little bit complicated, trying to figure this out, but I think I did. And so I prepared a resolution, just so, make sure I had it right. We're approving tonight, is an application for a lot line adjustment to combine the 3 lots into 1 lot. And at the same time, we're also applying for a site plan approval for the expansion of the commercial storage facility on the property. I think there are 3. Are there 3 buildings now? They're adding 2. Is that what the number? There are
4 buildings.
4 buildings. Okay. How many are they adding? 2?
2. They're adding 2.
2 and then
Okay.
the farm stand out front.
So it's just an extension of the existing use on the combined 3 properties. The more difficult issue was the issue with regard to the farm market. And so what I did and what I'm going to discuss with you later, I think I have a solution to the farm market legislation and how we should change that. But what I did was, since our building inspector, zoning enforcement officer, had indicated that what they were proposing was a permissible, I think, retail use. He described it as a retail use. We'll go along with that for now, even though I'm not positive that he's correct on that. But what I did was put a provision in the law that when we do change the farm market and farm stand sections of our code, that they're going to have to reapply for whatever we determine that building is. And, under the new law, I'm going to it's going to be a farm market.
They can just apply to amend?
Yeah, they can come back in.
Just an amendment, not a full.
An amendment under the new law. We want them to comply with the new law.
But they won't have to go through the full process.
No, but it's really not it's really not a farm stand. But I'll go over that with you later on. So, are they here?
Online.
Is Steve online? Does he want to speak at all, or? What's he saying? Explain to him what's happening. Anyone who's on Zoom, we don't seem to have the TV today. So you're on the laptop here with Trisha. So I guess raise your hand or, in the Zoom program, click raise your hand or if you need to talk.
So I did prepare the resolution. Do you want me to read it? Or you want Trisha to read it? Or you can read it.
I usually,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you want.
No, I defer to you. You can
Okay.
hear my voice already.
All right. Town of Pine Plains Planning Board resolution for approving the application of HTWO Properties LLC for lot line adjustment and site plan approval. Whereas HTWO Properties LLC is the owner of 3 contiguous parcels of land located at 2114 to 2116 Church Street, 28. Oh, sorry, did I say 21? Sorry, 2814, 2816 Church Street, 2812 Church Street, and 2818 Church Street. Whereas HTWO Properties has made application to the planning board for a lot line adjustment among the three properties, all as shown on a lot line alteration map for HDWO Properties LLC dated, we need to get that
You can fill in the date, because I couldn't get that, which what I have.
last revised on and then the last revision date. Whereas the lot line adjustment proposes to combine all three lots into one lot containing approximately acres of land, and whereas the parcel located at 2818 Church Street is presently improved by two buildings containing commercial. Wait, which one is 2818? Is that the,
I don't know, I got something mixed up.
14 to 18 is the big lot, and then 12 is the one where the trailer was.
I think 2818 has the improvements from,
The one closest to the light.
so this is the original, this is where the storage is now, 2818?
Yes.
It has more than two buildings, so. It has,
So
what did we
I'm
say,
just saying,
four? We said four.
3 or 4?
It's four. Whoops, I'm writing the number and the words. Is presently improved by four buildings containing commercial self-storage facilities for which site plan approval has been previously granted by the planning board. And whereas the parcel at 2814 and it's at 2816 Church Street is currently improved by a 1.5 story residential structure. And whereas the planning board has determined that the lot line adjustment is a type 2 action under SECR pursuant to section 617.5 subsection 16, which does not require environmental review. And whereas HDWO Properties has also made application for the installation of 3 additional storage facilities on the merged parcels to be operated as one. Wait a minute, 3 additional. It's 2 additional, right?
Two additional
Two additional,
storage
yeah.
buildings and then the
Right.
one structure by the road.
Right, two additional storage facilities on the merged parcels to be operated as one single commercial storage facility operation. And whereas HDWO Properties has also proposed to convert the existing residential structure into a farm stand slash market, I'll put, like, just so we're covering all the bases. As that use is described and permitted by the town zoning code, and whereas HDWO Properties had previously been granted approval for the installation of the EV charging station on one of the existing storage buildings, and whereas the planning board has determined that the installation of the additional commercial storage facilities and farm stand market are unlisted actions pursuant to the SECR regulations, and the planning board has conducted a SECR review of the aspect of that aspect of the project and determined that the additional storage units and farm stand slash market will not result in any significant environmental impacts, and that a draft environmental impact statement need not be prepared. Whereas the proposed lot line alteration has been reviewed and approved by the town engineer and attorney to the town. And whereas the proposed site plan for the additional commercial storage unit and farm stand slash market have been reviewed and approved by the town engineer, and whereas the applicant has applied for and received approval from the town's zoning board of appeals for a variance for the maximum permitted lot coverage, and whereas the town's code enforcement officer has determined that the proposed farm stand slash market is a retail use permitted under the town zoning code, and whereas the applicant has prepared a stormwater pollution prevention plan and submitted the said plan to the town engineer for his approval and to the DEC for its approval. And whereas the planning board opened the public hearing on the said application for the lot line adjustment and the site plan approval for the expansion of the self-storage facility on June 10th, 2026, and closed the public hearing on the same date. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby approves the lot line alteration for the above merger of the 3 parcels as shown on the lot line alteration map submitted and reviewed by the planning board, and approves the application for the site plan for the expansion of the commercial self-storage facilities on the lots as merged, and for the farm stand market slash market to, as shown on the site plan map, subject to the following conditions, that the applicant cause to be prepared appropriate merger deeds for the said parcels to be forwarded to and approved by the attorney to the planning board, and after such approval, the deeds shall be duly filed in the office of the Dutchess County Clerk with the proof of filing provided to the planning board chair. The construction and operation of the storage facilities and farm stand slash market be performed in accordance with the site plan approval by the planning board. In the event that subsequent to the date of this resolution, the town code is amended by the town board to provide that the farm stand slash market proposed by the applicant meets the requirements of a farm market under the code as revised, and that the applicant shall, within 30 days of the amendment to the town code, make application to the planning board for approval of the farm stand as a farm market in accordance with the amended provisions of the code. I would like to, should I insert in that it's just an amendment? Just so everyone's clear, make application to the planning board for an amended site plan for approval of the farms. For approval of the farms. As, sorry, as a farm stand, as a farm market, in accordance with the amended provisions of the code. That all application escrow fees and other charges imposed on this application by the planning board in the town code shall be paid prior to signing of the amended site plan by the planning board chairman. Okay,
Stand by, you gotta change it to 3, so you forgot about this building. On the first page. Car stands.
oh wow, I didn't realize, so 1,
Right,
2,
right.
3,
See anything because I'm muted.
yeah, I thought it was only, so there was 3. No, he had it right, sorry, Warren. Total
4 existing. 3.
7. Okay. And, all right,
I just had one question.
yes,
On the eighth whereas.
says what?
It says, HTWO Properties has also proposed to convert the existing residential structure into a farm.
Oh, is that
Slash,
what we said?
Yeah.
that's what this says.
Can,
but I
can you hear
believe-
me, Trish?
Yes.
Proposed
Am I
to
there?
demolish-
I'm sorry. I'm on
It's
Zoom.
gonna demolish that?
Yes, because
Yes.
that's all
Yes.
the way back,
Yeah.
demolish the
Okay.
existing residential structure into, and,
'cause
That,
that's gonna
that,
be parking in front of that one storage
Okay.
unit in between that and the farm stand slash.
Good, that's
Mark.
fantastic.
You're welcome.
structure
1 second, Steve.
and, and add a farm stand as it, that usually, okay. Yes, Steve, what's up?
nope, correct. That was what I was gonna bring up. I'm sorry. That yes, it'll be demoed, the house, and the farm stand will be closer to the road as depicted on the site plan.
Right.
So it'll be 3 buildings plus the additional farm market building-ish.
Slash stand slash.
Yes. Thank you.
Got it. Okay. All right, so as those changes have been made, everyone's clear on the changes that were made?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I have a motion to accept this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All right, voice vote, Rory,
Aye.
Scott,
Yes.
David, oh yeah, David Allen, the alternate sitting in for absent members today.
Aye.
Ethan?
Yes.
And I also vote aye.
Just send me a copy of the amended, resolution with the vote on.
Let it be shown that the resolution was carried by a 5 to zero vote by the planning board members on July 15th. 2026. Good for you. All right, Steve. Good luck with everything.
Thank you all. Wheels are turning. Appreciate it.
All right, take
Have a
care.
good night. Take care.
Next up is Cark Planning Consultants regarding 121 Lake Road / 3BFS Lane. Resolution. Hello.
Kelly Lible with KRC Planning. I think tonight the board had closed the public hearing for for this particular project at the last meeting, and we were anticipating just reviewing a resolution for this.
And Warren, you know that
We
resolution?
do have a resolution.
Do you have?
Did you get a copy?
No, we do not have that.
Okay.
Does anyone have a draft that I can review, or is that one? It's just-
We'll get you on. Let me see.
We can
We
make,
need some to.
so they decided briefly to not for it, but
What are we talking about?
this is the Lake Road property.
Yeah, no, I didn't think they decided.
Oh, good, that's good. Sorry, Jim, but not so much.
We're so positive.
Not that I know. There's several other people that have begged out for this meeting, but not. TV.
The cable.
It might be the cable, it's no.
Fritz?
Yeah, it's transmitting like a black screen to the TV, I'm fairly certain.
Switching the table, like, then that and then.
But it's, it's not. Okay. Do you have, so you want to take a moment to review?
Oh, no, I'll review it while you're.
Okay.
Thank you.
Town of Pine Plains Planning Board Resolution approving a lot line adjustment application of Richard J. Ireland Jr. for 2 properties located at 121 Lake Road and 3 BFS Lane in the town of Pine Plains. Whereas Richard J. Ireland Jr. is the owner of 2 adjacent parcels of land located at 121 Lake Road and 3 BFS Lane in the town of Pine Plains, having tax map number 1342000-687-1-00-133936, which is known as parcel A, consisting of 0.12 acres, and 1342000-687-1-00-133939 parcel B, consisting of 1.68 acres, and whereas the applicant is seeking a lot line adjustment will result.
Sorry to interrupt. Those numbers do not sound right.
No,
Are those numbers right?
No, I was.
What numbers is
The one parcel is 1.78.
Yes.
And this one is
So, maybe the type of 5.3.
with. This is the hard.
oh, the 1 digit,
0.7.
Okay, the parcel A is currently 0.12 and the new acreage is 0.68. Parcel B is 1.68 and the new acreage is 1.12. So that's what it should be.
wait, so. Wait, what's the acreage, is that right, or just the numbers of the? Hmm.
A is,
1.7 is very close to 1.68. So you mean? No.
I think they're correct. So it says the parcel A is increasing. So it's parcel A is increasing to 0.68 acres, right? That's correct.
Right.
And then parcel B is decreasing to 1.12. So that whereas is correct.
Just double checking.
And actually, what was wrong though is the parcel number for parcel B is 133,919 or 39?
139,919.
29,991. Right.
919.
919.
Okay, so that's. All right, the applicant is seeking a lot line adjustment that will result in parcel A increasing its acreage to 0.68 acres and parcel B increasing its acreage to 1.12 acres as shown in a lot line adjustment map prepared by Spencer S. Hall Land Surveyor dated
April 5th, 2022.
Thank you.
2022.
It is, yep, that's an older map.
Yeah, how is that date right?
This was prepared a while ago and not submitted, and then
Oh.
we took it on and submitted it.
Oh,
Whereas the proposed lot line adjustment has been reviewed and approved by the town's consulting engineer and by the town's attorney and has been determined that the same is acceptable in form and content. And whereas the planning board has determined that this is a type 2 action under seeker, which does not require environmental review, and whereas the planning board determined that this lot line adjustment does not require a public hearing to be held by the planning board. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby approves the lot line application of Richard J. Ireland Jr. as shown on the said lot line adjustment map dated
April 5th, 2022.
oh, okay, so even the new map has it there. That's what I
Yes, the one we submitted
got it,
was,
got it. All right.
yeah,
And be it further resolved that the applicant shall cause to be prepared 2 merger deeds for the new lots created by the lot line adjustment and submit same to the attorney to the town for his approval, and be it further resolved that the planning board chairman is authorized to sign the said lot line adjustment map when the same is submitted to him in final form to provide proof of the filing of the lot line adjustment map and merger deeds in the Dutchess County Clerk's office, and be it further resolved that all application escrow fees and other charges imposed on the application by the planning board in the town code shall be paid prior to signing of the amended site plan by the planning board chair. So you're good with this?
yeah, could I just confirm that the parcel, this second parcel is 139919?
133,
I have 139919.
139.
9919.
139,
139.
Yep.
So that's good. 139919.
this is like the easiest one, it's the most complicated.
3 times, correct?
All right. Well, okay, so can I have a motion to accept this resolution?
So,
Second,
All right, Rory,
aye,
Scott,
Yes.
David,
aye,
Ethan,
yes,
and I also vote aye.
Thank you very much. We'll get the deeds over to you. We'll get the deed
Yeah.
over to you. Yes, okay, thank
So
you.
the resolution was carried by a 5-0 vote, but of the planning board members on July 15th, 2026. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, take care.
Good night, everyone.
All right, next up, is the way. Or upstate,
No,
wait, no, way station, no. Upstate Pines
Easter.
and. I guess, let's go ahead, what, go ahead.
Well, so we have 2 applications. We're looking globally to present a grocery store and an ice cream shop. But before we do that, we have to resolve the cannabis dispensary, which has reached kind of an impasse on the certificate of occupancy on the ramp. So we're here tonight to discuss that and,
So just everybody, nice to meet you. Chris Feldman from Harris Beach, North Carolina here on behalf of the applicant. I think just procedurally for the agenda, we're gonna hold off on the site plan and special use discussion tonight
Correct.
for your agenda, so we'll just. It's okay if you will skip to the next matter, which is the Upstate Pines application. So how we got here, it's a little, well, I wanted to kind of go through it and just straighten everything out, because I think there've been a couple issues and, things that have come up. So the property was previously built out, this building in the front here, previously built out and constructed for a commercial purpose. We'll call it a plain vanilla box. That could have been anything. It could have been, it's not very large, but it could have been a bank, it could have been a insurance office, it could have been any of those things.
And this was prior to when you folks received an application for special use permit for cannabis. The building was renovated.
A long time ago, the CO was issued, so everything at that point was okay. Then Upstate.
Just for the record, you know when the date of the CO was issued?
Uh,
Well, we're going back to like 2020, so it's been a while.
It was like 2020.
Yeah, and when the building was renovated, the objective was to renovate the building, not to have a specific tenant in the building. So prior to when any of us got involved, the building was renovated. A building permit was issued. And a certificate of occupancy was issued for commercial use. After that, there was a tenant who was cannabis use. And that's when we got involved with you folks to get that approved as a special use permit for cannabis.
and so at this point, our position is. Previously, there was a CO that was issued for the property for commercial use. Given the issues with the cannabis, then it kind of came back here for review. I think there's an argument to be made that at that time it didn't necessarily have to come back for some of the improvements that we're talking about here today. But here we are, we're trying to figure everything out and get everything straightened out with everybody.
But I mean, just to be, so we're clear and the record's clear, with the cannabis didn't operate there before, right?
So
Yeah, so you came as an application to change the use to a cannabis.
So to be clear, the building was renovated prior to when we appeared before your board. A certificate of occupancy was delivered before we appeared for your board. So when we came online, we were looking to change the use to cannabis, which requires, per your code, a special use permit, which we talked about in depth.
And which we approved.
Correct.
So now what we're here for is there's an issue with you have approved the site plan for this property. And in approving that site plan, it has an ADA accessible ramp that's being provided. We've reached out to the state has provided, and we provided counsel with the letter from the state. The state has said, no, you don't require that ramp. They say that the change in use does not trigger any requirement that a ramp be added to this existing building. Nothing outside the building has changed. So that was the first point. And we have copies of the state letter we can provide, it's been provided to council. So that's kind of the first part of it. Then the second part of it, in looking at it and looking at the construction costs, the state code itself exempts projects where the cost to install the accessibility ramp would be greater than 20% of the alteration costs for the primary function area. So that's also an important distinction. So in looking at it, I can submit, we have a letter from
us,
earlier in the year
from January.
explaining that approximately $75,000 was put into the building. Now, that's not necessarily just for the primary function area. So that would be, addressing siding issues, addressing foundational issues. So that number is 75. The cost approximately to put in the ramp is about 30,000. So that's actually like closer to 40% of the cost of everything. Now you might say that seems like an awful lot to put in a ramp. So the ramp as it's designed now on the site plan comes off the side of the building and over what is the old way station scale. And that scale is still there. So in order to put that ramp in that location, you would have to take out that scale to put in the proper footings to dig down to put in that ramp. So that makes it so expensive and cost prohibitive, which would exempt it.
You would have to
From
take
the
out the
requirement.
scale to put that ramp.
Take out the scale or we'd have to span over the scale. I mean, the scale is part of the history of the area, like we don't want to take that out, like the interior in the building, the scale still exists, like the. Measuring device of like
The mechanism
the
that
outdoor part and
connects.
the indoor part, it's all still intact. So there's no reason to erase that from the history of the area, but if we're gonna create an ADA ramp that goes over that, then we have to span basically like what a car would drive through.
Right, that's about how big the scale was, because they would load a tractor,
Correct.
a trailer.
And so we have, I can submit, I sent a letter. So again, that's a letter from our architect explaining this back in January. So well before we really knew that this part of it was an issue. And that shows the 75,000 and the 30,000, which goes to, approximately 40%. So that's just a letter for you guys to show that it's these numbers are your numbers that, are dating back to the beginning of the year. So it's not something that's recent. We've also looked at the state code, and the state, existing, building code specifically provides an exemption, as I mentioned. So under, section 306.7.1, it specifically provides, where an alteration affects the accessibility to or contains an area of primary function, the route to the primary function area shall be accessible. Toilet facilities and drinking fountains serving the area of primary function, including the route from the areas of primary function of these facilities, shall be accessible. Priority shall be given to the improvements affecting accessible route to the primary function area. And then it lists a specific exception number 1. Cumulative cost of providing the accessible route, toilet facilities, and drinking fountain are not required to exceed 20% of the cost of the alteration affecting the area of primary function. Again, as I said, we reached out to the Department of State. The Department of State has provided that we are meeting those exemption requirements.
So there's really 2 issues, right? So the certificate of occupancy was issued prior to when we presented in front of this board. And that was issued for a commercial use. And that was the moment in which it would have been argued that accessibility had to be addressed.
And that was June 24th.
And so when we came before you folks, we were talking about a change of use, which does not bring us into accessibility. We already had that building could have been rented out. It could have been an office. It could have been like whatever it was. It had a certificate of occupancy for commercial use that was issued by your building department. So we were done. The only reason that we came before you was because we needed a special use permit for cannabis, which we talked about. We talked about that at length. We reached a resolution. Like everything's good, but we can't put that ramp in without a crazy cost or ripping out part of the history of this area, which is the whole thing is intact. The scale is still in the building and the outdoor scale is still outdoor of the building. So we can't go out the front because we're in DOT right away. We can't go out the side because we have to span over the history of the area.
So at this point, we're just looking for a minor amendment to the previously approved site plan that just removes that ramp requirement. That's all we're here.
So let's hear from Warren as to what the town's exposure would be if we were to grab this
Well,
amended.
Yeah, I'm not gonna opine on the town's exposure, but to cut to the chase, I agree with you. Just so everybody knows, the change in use doesn't automatically trigger handicap accessibility. It's only when there's substantial alterations are made to the building. And what becomes a substantial alteration under the Code of Federal Regulations regarding handicap access becomes very complicated. If the town was going to require handicap access. It should have been done at the time of the original permit in 2021. And there's some question in my mind as to whether the changes to the stairs triggers the requirement of handicap access. But I agree, given the information that's been supplied, that this comes within the 20% exemption. So I have no objection to the town issuing whatever approvals we need to issue at this point. And I have prepared an amended resolution for your consideration, which amends the original site plan approval to remove the requirement of the handicap access. And should put, there's no exposure to the town when these things are litigated for ADA accessibility. The litigation usually stems from a disabled person who's denied access to a building, and then they bring the action against the property owner, not the town. So there's no exposure. But I think it does correctly come within 20% rule, and certainly the town doesn't want to see those scales removed. They are of historic importance, and it would seem sort of patently obvious that you come within that 20%. So the amended resolution provides, if you want to pass that the site plan as amended without the handicap access is.
Can I, you have just the language that?
Yeah, we don't have, most of the language is exactly the same.
Right.
But the critical language is, just a minute. Wait a second, I'll read that one, yeah. Yeah, that's simple.
Maybe while,
Okay, so on page 2, it says, the applicant has submitted a revised site plan for approval, which excludes the handicap access ramp on the plans. The planning board has determined that the alterations and improvements to the property in 2021 were approved by the building inspector, who issued a certificate of occupancy for the improvements. And they did not rise to a level of significant alteration to the property, which required the installation of handicap access ramp to the facility under state and federal ADA regulations. So the resolution approves with the same language as the first resolution, the amended site plan without the requirement of the handicap access. I just have one question about your, have you been issued a permit by the state for the operation of the cannabis facility?
yes, we have.
Oh, okay, you don't have to show it, we just couldn't find a record of it. when we did that.
Yeah, I can pass it off.
Yeah, if we could get a copy of that for our record,
Do we need to copy that, or is that for us?
No, you can keep that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that was my only question.
Yeah,
Cool. Tricia does.
and one other thing I just wanted to.
So we do need to take a vote on the amended rest.
Send this to you.
You had some one.
No, it's fine. It was just along the lines of your question as to what's kind of the effect or exposure. I did want to point out, so Neil Collier from the Department of State, and kind of addressed that in his correspondence, which we had previously provided. And he kind of mentioned that a change in occupancy does not necessarily require modification to accessibility. Only alterations made to the existing building as part of the change of the occupancy are required to be upgraded. Most buildings undergoing a change of occupancy are also making alterations, but this should be encouraging the innovative reuse of existing buildings while holding the principle of existing buildings becoming accessible over time. So kind of saying, look, we want to encourage people to upgrade buildings, but we also don't want to go overboard And I'm sure there's a number of older buildings in town that you want people to come in, you want people to do work, but you don't want to, have all these other extra requirements come upon them. So, it's just something to consider that, you don't want to open up a can of worms where every project now is required to do this, especially in a situation where the exemptions are all met.
And how are you going to accommodate, like, if people,
Look, people call in and they're gonna place their order and they're gonna come out to the car. I mean, the building is 600 square feet, so it's tiny. I mean, it's really not hard to imagine that somebody's gonna pull up and be in their car and they can't climb up the stairs and they need to place an order.
Well, we also will be doing delivery curbside, so that would address those issues.
We want to develop the rest of the site, but we have that on pause because we need to get this online.
You're all set.
well, we have to still.
Almost.
So you read it already, so.
Yeah.
So, can I have a motion to amend the resolution, removing the handicap ramp requirement on the site plan?
So moved.
Second,
Uh. Okay, you're not even on that page. Hold on. Corey,
aye,
Scott,
Yes.
David,
aye,
Ethan?
Yeah.
And I also vote aye, 5-0, the resolution has passed. On the, good luck.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Um. Next up on the agenda is the law changes, right?
Yeah.
Do we need George for any of this, I think?
Nice mission.
Give it him.
Did you bring that $500?
A shot, please.
Oh, boy.
Don't put that down.
Right. You said it's already there.
Trouble.
Warren on a hot mic. Oh, my goodness.
So do we need?
I don't think so. Right. No.
Hey, George.
Chinka.
Yes, she approved the,
Did she just leave?
she approved the meeting in the minutes.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So which do you want to discuss first?
Let's do, Leah's first.
That's the easier one.
Yeah, that's what I can.
I did with that. It's here somewhere.
Gotta get your color coded folders.
It's all you.
Why not?
Yeah, this is yellow is pine flake.
Ah,
There's several different colors. But when I do, wait a second, hold on just a second. What's this H? Okay, so Leah's it's split zone. So what I recommend to deal with we discussed this before, that Leah's property is not the only property that has a split zone issue, but the other properties that have that are much larger. So dealing with a split zone to allow the less rigorous use in one district to expand to the more rigorous use in the other district would be a problem if you have a larger piece of property. So what I've done was just added to 275-6E, subject to your approval. And that section of the code is amended to add the following language. However, if the divided property is located in the town's HMS district and consists of 4 acres or less, the less restricted portion of the lot shall extend to the rear of the lot. So under the current zoning, it's only 30 feet. But if it's a 4-acre parcel in or less in the HMS zone, it would extend to the whole lot. And I think that's the simplest way of dealing with this without having to go through a amendment to a zoning map, and which is probably much more complicated.
So what would the process be for that? They just automatically get it?
Yeah, I mean, you would come to the planning board if this is approved by the town board.
Right.
They would come to the planning board and invoke this section, and they don't have to. They would have the right to do that, and they would argue that the use that they're anticipating would be permitted in a less restricted zone, and therefore should extend further than the 30 feet that's allowed in the code to the whole back of the lot. And at a later point, if we want to deal with the other split zone issues in the town, it's a little bit more complicated, but if you want to get this thing done.
All right, so we will just, it would be like a waiver, or we don't even have to vote on it?
No,
It would just automatic-
the town board would just amend the code. It would be in the code, and there would be a right
Fine.
to make application and invoke this section. So, yeah, they wouldn't have to go to
So
the,
if you automatically, so when they come to us as part of the application, they just say,
Yeah,
we're
you
involving
would
in this
just-
section.
when it comes to you, if it does, you would just, and if they want to apply the less restricted section of the code that exists in the front of the property to the whole property in the back end, you'd be permitted to do that. They wouldn't have to get a variance or anything. So that, I think, eliminates the concerns that Dutchess County Planning has. And I think I'll deal with it tomorrow night with the town board and see if they approve it, and then we would start the local law adoption process and probably vote on it at the next meeting.
That sounds easy to me.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm like,
yeah. It's a nice solution, quick and easy. Okay.
So do we
No,
vote and
just,
say that we approve, we send our recommendation?
Yeah, you can either send it, but I don't know, we didn't get something out before tomorrow night's meeting. But I'm gonna be at the meeting of the town board, and I can say that we met and.
So you guys are okay with me
Absolutely.
sending an email saying?
Or can we just do it right now?
Or we're meeting it tomorrow, but I will follow up with.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
we have a
And,
Keep it in paper. Yeah.
yeah,
councilman there,
uh,
can convey that.
word.
so, okay, easy peasy, next one.
Can I depart on an executive session or something? Am I not supposed to be in?
No, you're
Oh,
fine.
okay.
We're going over some code changes that we're giving our whatever our comments on. That are going,
Saw everybody outside, and I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to be here.
Well,
so we're sending our recommendations to the town board.
So the farm stand rezoning is a little bit more complicated, but not too bad. Let me see what I did here, where I can find it. So what I recommend we do, if you remember, the Dutchess County Department of Planning had reviewed what we had done, which was,
I don't think they,
I think, yeah, no, I have the opinion.
right, no, but I don't think they've only seen, if they watched the town board meeting, I don't know, because the town board meeting was after our meeting and we haven't met since then. So I don't think they know about what Dutchess County Planning.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you now.
Besides what I've communicated.
The original way that we had it was, I'll just read what the Dutchess County Department of Planning recommended in their 6/18/26 opinion. The town board is proposing to amend zoning chapter of the town code in order to revise the definition of a farm stand. The town's proposed revision to the farm stand definition by removing the requirement that products be grown on the same property creates an internal inconsistency with the town's existing farm market definition, which still limits sales to goods produced on site. This structure reverses how these uses typically function in agricultural communities under the New York State Ag and Markets guidance, where farm stands are understood as seasonal, farm-specific roadside extensions of a particular farming operation, while farm markets serve a broader, often year-round retail venue that may sell products sourced from multiple local and regional farms. So basically, what they're saying is that the farm market should not be limited. The way the farm stand should not be opened up to allow products produced off-site or at other farms. We should leave basically our farm stand provision as it is and amend the farm market provision to add a section which I've created, which says that a farm market shall be a use permitted in the HMS, highway business, HPCR, and LP districts, subject to special use permit and site plan approval, and to the following. And one will be that the farm market may be operated as an accessory use to the principal use of the property, and shall be for the use only for the use of the owner applicant. And then the rest of the provisions in our current zoning code regarding farm markets would still apply to farm markets, such as the section where 2/3 of the total amount of the annual retail sale of agricultural, horticultural, floricultural, vegetable and fruit products, soil, livestock and meats, poultry, eggs, dairy products, et cetera, shall be grown, raised, or produced on the property on which the market is located. But notwithstanding those restrictions, the farm market may sell supporting agricultural products and products not grown on the owner applicant, provided that that may have to be amended from the code. But it should be the owner applicant's property, provided that the said products do not exceed 1/3 of the total annual retail sales of the farm market. And the rest of the provisions are all pretty liberal in terms of allowing the sale of other products and dairy products and farm products that may not be stemmed from the property on which the farm market is located. So that we would basically be keeping our farm market provision and just changing the first paragraph, keeping everything else the same. And then the farm stand would remain the way it is. And the farm stands are permitted in all the zoning districts, subject to it's a permitted use. It doesn't require a special use permit or anything from the planning board. And we would keep the definition of farm stand that we have in our current zoning code, which is an accessory structure or vehicle used for the seasonal display and sale of agricultural products grown on the premises, which uses its proximity to a roadway to attract potential customers as permitted by section 275-10 of the zoning law. That's the definition. So basically,
We're not gonna touch the farms.
we're not gonna touch the farm stand. It will remain the same. It will be restricted to farms, and that's what the farm would. That's what it would be limited to what's grown on the farm. The farm stand would have to be located on an agricultural.
Which is how it's now.
Yeah,
But
All right, so let's go.
resident without a formal farm could also have a farm stand.
well, like if they're growing the crops on
Yeah,
their
like-
property,
I think
that would
we
have
see
to
that
be,
around.
yeah. You know, that happens all the time. Nobody bothers it. You know, somebody grows a couple of cucumbers and sells them in the front. Nobody's gonna close up the business,
So let's, to go on to what we are actually changing, which is the farm market.
the farm market.
All right, so I had two questions. So one, it talks a lot about the owner applicant, like. So they don't have to own the property, right? They just have to own the operation, right?
Mhm.
They don't have to own the property.
Well, the language I use, the farm market may be operated as accessory use to the principal use of the property and shall be only for the use of the owner applicant
Of the property.
of the property.
You said principal
If you feel that
use
that's
of the
too
property.
restrictive,
That is.
we can take that. we
Right,
can
because
take-
like in the instance that we're talking about, Steve doesn't wanna run a farm stand. He's gonna have somebody. You know,
Right.
a farmer come in and
Right.
run the farm stand.
We could take that out. So all it would say was, the farm market, I thought you might have a problem with that. The farm market may be operated as an accessory use to the principal use of the property, period. And then we can take out the owner applicant.
Okay, and then we also removed under special use requirements for farm market. I take it we're removing number 2, right?
We are removing, number 2.
Bullet number 2.
That was the farm market shall be located on the same property as the agricultural.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And can you, I know you just mentioned the changes, but I still remain a little unclear on if some of those other restrictions in there were new additions or they're old.
No, all the old restrictions are what are in our current zoning law, and they're pretty consistent with what other municipalities have in their zoning codes for farm markets.
And we're trying to be as permissive as possible, right? 'Cause
And they're permissive, it's very permissive,
Basis.
because it allows a wide variety of products, not all of which are grown on the farm. And that's what we're looking for, to encourage that as a farm market.
But it has like a certain percentage provision has to be
Yeah.
on the farm.
Yeah, that's usual.
Yeah.
You know, we did one for town of Northeast, had the same requirements. And there were similar requirements.
So
So
like the McEnroe space, which closed down recently, for example, how would that be approached in our code? I know it's not.
you mean his
The
market?
farm stand market, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a farm stand.
Farm market.
That's a farmer's market.
Farm market,
Yeah.
not farm.
Well, I think under the Northeast code,
Oh, I mean,
that's,
so let's
the
not.
Northeast code's different.
Let's not go. So their code handles it differently. Somehow it turns into a farm. Ours does not.
The percentage that needs to be grown on the farm?
Hmm?
What's the percentage that needs to be grown on the farm?
I think 60.
According to your
7%.
current zoning code, at least,
2/3?
2/3.
No.
Yeah.
2/3 of the total amount of annual retail sales of agricultural, horticultural, vegetable and fruit products, soil, livestock, meat, poultry, eggs, dairy, blah, 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 shall be grown, raised, or produced on the property in which the market is located.
That's what it's in the current zoning.
Well, that has to be changed too then, right?
That's
Because
pretty high.
Well, why do we
There are
want-
farm markets now that exist
Yeah.
that do not meet that.
Why do we want
So-
that?
Yeah, why, what's the purpose? of
I'm
that?
not saying you want it, but that's what you have in your code.
We don't want
think we don't want that.
Yeah, that's
We want it as least restrictive as possible.
great.
So,
One question.
do you want to raise the percentage?
Lower.
lower the percentage.
I meant,
Do we have to have?
Lower
a
the
percentage?
Why, yeah, why
What's
even
at
a
stake?
percentage? What's,
Yeah, really.
what's the
Well, but then what's the difference between like a grocery store and then a farm market in
yeah,
that
I
case,
mean,
right?
you're trying to.
It's done to,
Because it's defined as agricultural products. Right, whereas a grocery store is Ajax and bleach and.
Yeah, I mean, we specifically have language in our zoning code in that section which says, a conventional grocery store or supermarket shall not be deemed a farm market. I mean, you're trying to distinguish,
and you're trying to encourage.
between a farm market and a grocery store or, if the town board thinks that 2/3 is too restrictive, well, you know, we can change that.
Why don't-
I don't know.
Well, this member does.
What I'd like to do is get a consensus from the town board as to what.
Why don't you change the language to say it's a majority of the profit that is earned in the production be from farm-based stuff?
How about 20?
I don't know, You're a little embarrassed to cut-
20%,
Huh?
20%.
That's pretty low.
It is,
Okay.
but there are
Yes.
farm markets that I know of that sell maybe 20% of what they grow or raise on the farm only. So,
It's the town board's call. You can,
Okay,
you can.
It's also the time, right? Like right now, we don't have a supermarket,
That's
so
correct.
those ones are selling a lot more products than they are just what they grow on the farm, and that's because the people of the town need that at this point.
I mean, for Pete's sake, Stewart's is a farm market right now. You can get red onions there.
Yeah.
Who knew?
So what are we talking? What do you think the board would want, the town board?
20? What do you think?
20 to 50, somewhere around there, you know.
Okay, so we have to
Less
amend
than
that.
that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, huh?
He permissive.
So
I
you say,
mean, I'm fine with it. So,
Ultimately as permissive as possible, because we lack very
trying
sorely
to
in the
encourage.
grocery store
Yeah.
or products.
no,
and in that sentence, you have to change also produced on the property in which the market is located.
where's that? Sue?
On special use requirement number 3, where it talks about the 2/3, that's what it's all leading up to. 2/3 of what? All these different products it mentions, and then that is raised, grown, raised, or produced on the property in which the market is located. This should be like, grown, raised by the,
That's in
owner
paragraph 3.
operated.
Let me, why am I missing?
special use.
1/3. Notwithstanding of the farm market may sell supporting agricultural products.
So that's
Not exceed 1/3.
special use.
Okay.
It's a different.
So it should be
Just
20.
the special use requirements for a farm lot.
Okay,
It's the only other place there's appears with the definitions. Do you see that? Do you saw it more?
yeah, what I'm gonna have to do is go over the existing zoning and liberalize it in accordance with the feedback I'm getting. And then I'll produce a document for the town board to consider passing tomorrow night. So,
Awesome.
I'm assuming that you're okay with whatever the town board.
Yeah, you got it. It sounds good.
I had one question related to the proximity, and there was some verbiage about primary use of the existing or adjacent property.
Should we read it through one more time?
Yes, please.
Where in the special use,
What Warren was reading earlier, I can't tell you where it's from.
In what I added or what's in there now? If you could point me to the, because it's.
Can I see
several
what you're
paragraphs.
reading off of?
Yeah.
Scan that real quick.
That's
You were
what I
picking up when I was. The farm market must be operated as an accessory use to the principal use.
We took that out, didn't we?
No, I wanted to be clear on what you meant by that, because the principal use of that property is self-storage. It's got nothing to do with retail, farm stand,
Oh,
farmhouse.
I see. what you mean.
Outhouse,
Farm market, well, I think what this is saying, and this is in the code, is that it's not a standalone use. You can't just have a property with just a farm market on there. And it's traditionally an accessory use, but it doesn't.
Okay, yeah, I was just
yeah, so
confused. when you
I'll take
said-
that out.
Yeah,
too,
why
then.
couldn't you do?
Doesn't
Yeah.
need to be.
Does the primary
You can
use
do
of
whatever you want.
Yeah, that should go also.
Cut that out.
Because what happens if, I mean, what we're really trying to create, I don't know if you do this in a language, you're trying to create like this mobile accessory use. Like you have a farm, you want to create this accessory use where you put it in the middle of town or somewhere where it has visibility and traffic and, you know, so you might want it on your, but you might not. You might want it somewhere else.
So I'll work on the language that we already have in the code and try to liberalize anything in there that's not consistent with your comments. And we can have this ready for tomorrow night.
Pretty sure most of the town board members can be reached by email if you have any questions.
Yeah, as soon as you have it, and then you
Yeah.
can, you know,
Certainly
we'll
I'm
redline it.
available and
Yeah.
Semaphore.
Were there any other components to the original law that we wanted to look at again or consider again before we can lose.
No, those are the only two that we're making changes.
You mean like the whole zoning code? What do you mean the original?
Just,
Oh, this.
just,
No, we're gonna.
Come on, Michael.
I'm gonna review the entire farm market provision and liberalize it and take out some, the provisions.
Excellent.
We'll have a glossary, farm market, farm stand, farm shed.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
It's all pretty much in paper.
Without a supermarket at this point is hurting and wants to
Tremendously so.
liberalize this type of use in the, so we'll do that. And then when we get to new supermarkets, we can amend it to make it more restrictive. So, I understand what you're saying. So I'll try, when I send this out, I'll try to send it also to to you guys, to the planning board.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you, if you can spread it around, so if you have any comments before the meeting tomorrow night. I've got a full schedule tomorrow, so it's gonna be tough, but I'll take care of it.
Michael, will you be at the meeting tomorrow night?
Maybe.
Well, as long as you, but as long as you review it and you're
Yeah.
good with it.
All right, yeah, I'll see. All right. I'll definitely be on the email, and then if I feel I need to come to the meeting, I'll come.
Anything
Well,
else?
what I did the last time was good, because I just left after the discussion on the laws, and it's still right.
It's funny how heated this is. This was a very heated thing in Northeast.
Was it?
Yeah, Mackinac actually, they're out of business now, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
unfortunately.
interesting.
Yeah, we went,
So tomorrow, Warren,
we went to court on that in Northeast,
Wow.
for the composting. And challenge and went up to the appellate division, we won, the town won the case. But, that was a town board decision in Northeast, we would have a different view of it.
And then they had a cafe too.
Yeah, then we changed the law to allow
Mm-hmm.
what, because the town board was in favor of that, use. They were concerned about the composting where they were bringing in manure, shipping in manure from Pennsylvania to compost on the property, and that was the big.
Don't we have enough manure in New York?
That's what we said. We said we have so much shit around here. They don't have to bring it in from Pennsylvania. But
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm sorry to see that go. I like that market.
I liked it too. I liked the cafe.
Yeah.
Kevin, did you have a question?
Why they trying to?
well, all I was going to say was that we could handle this issue first while you're there, and that way.
Yeah, it's fine. All right,
Agenda tomorrow?
No, but there's probably gonna be public comment.
Speaking of agendas,
Yeah,
all right, so back to our agenda. So we're done. Warren, is there
We're
anything else for us?
Isn't that enough?
Distinct farms,
Huh?
Oh,
distinct farms. We need like they need to come.
They
They
need
need
to
to
come.
be here.
I will notify them to have somebody at the meeting and tell us, what we need to know is now that they have gotten approval from the Attorney General's office for condominium, how they're gonna convert those units from rentals to condominiums. And I don't know how they're gonna do it, to be honest with you.
And they're actively renewing leases,
They're renewing leases?
2 years.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, that's
that's weird. I mean, it's better for the people, but,
stupid.
okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I will have them come, and also Scene will be on the agenda for next month also. Okay.
So the minutes, all right, so Warren, thank you very much.
Warren, will you send me the park resolution and the upstate
Yeah,
pines
but-
resolution tomorrow?
Which one?
The Cark and the upstate pines. I don't have those.
Oh, yeah, I'll send them all. I'll
Okay,
tell
thank
Barbara to send them.
Thank you.
What, did you just like
you
hit
wanna-
us, or like, what are you doing?
I came in because I came in for Scene. Warren had sent out
We were told by the attorney that he was on vacation and that therefore we tabled it to next month.
I'd love to talk to you as board members about it. There's been a lot going on about he said, she said, and I think it would just make sense to relay the information, and some of the board members haven't even experienced the application. It was so long ago, and kind of what's going on, how it's going on, and maybe a path forward.
You hear this, Warren? Do we want to hear from Wesley or?
Why not?
Okay.
I'm saying,
Ice cream. Well,
So yeah, the scene property is for you gentlemen that weren't on the board during the application, was over, and it was the Dillinger's old farm. It was a dairy farm, but they had a gigantic slurry tank there, probably held as much liquid crap as Olympic sized swimming pool. That was torn down, and these two gentlemen bought it. They took the barn and they refurbished the inside, and their plan was to store things inside that you would store: cars, campers, the things of that nature, boats, whatnot. They came, and at that point Drew Weaver was the zoning enforcement officer and also the building inspector, and he classified as the inside, and the outside as would be equipment storage. Equipment storage defined in the zoning as anything that is equipment stored outside. One of the things that was the problem was where this barn was located. It was in the rear yard in the back corner, and the application to move forward, we had to talk about the front yard and visual impacts and such as that. For the record, I watched the last meeting that was here, and it was said that trucks were going to be excluded. There was going to be no overnight parking there. I watched every single meeting, and I wanted to make sure I didn't misspeak, and I didn't want to come here and misspeak again. I looked at every single minutes. I never saw anything about trucks being excluded. I will say that I never said trucks specifically either.
I have the time codes. I can send it to you. I'll send you the email where we asked that, is this gonna be like brown trucks? And like, oh, no, it's just campers and boats. And obviously why this is important, or why it's relevant, is because there's a huge difference in traffic and the things that we had to take into account in our evaluation versus I'm bringing a boat in the spring or in the winter and then taking it out in the spring, and I'm bringing a camper, right? You would agree that that's different intensity of use than 10 trucks and the employees using it like basically as a depot, right? They park their trucks there at night, they come in the morning, they get in their work trucks, they leave. Again, this is a light industrial zone, right? We told the attorney when he was here 3-4 months ago, whenever that was, one of the attorneys, that it's just an amended site plan. But we have to do our due diligence and follow the rules. When in those videos, I mean, you saw how many times boats and campers were mentioned. No one said propane truck. No one said work trucks. No one said 20 employees coming and go, whatever it is, 10, 15 employees coming every day, coming and going every day. We did tell them they had to make sure the driveway permit, and I guess the state eventually came and asked him to pave the apron, etc. And he also had to get the easement straightened out with his neighbor.
So again, you're right in what you're saying, and totally agree with the more traffic in the light industrial zone, and so we go through the approval, and trucks are never talked about, a depot was never talked about, and it was just strictly equipment storage. Then the resolution is passed. There's 3 different conceptual that has to be done. One is DOT approval. The DOT approval required the apron to be paved, which they went through that whole approval that took months to get done, cost $20,000 to pave the apron, but that was started after the first meeting, and Ethan was the one that brought it up, and it was started right then, and it took months to get done, but it did get done. The second thing was a road maintenance agreement, which the board did not bring up. That was the recommendation of the town attorney to have that done. The road maintenance agreement was immediately started in the negotiation of doing this. I will say in the application, you'll see that the applicants have a deeded right of way for ingress and egress over that property. It exists. And then because of that, in the negotiations and whatnot, it goes back and forth, and then they come back and decide that they're not going to store boats, campers, and whatever into the building because the tenant presents himself to then go in for manufacturing in there, which it was quite the application to go through with that because of the streamline of the marijuana industry and what rules are right and wrong. Again,
That was not for the whole interior though. That was only a partial, correct?
What's up?
The marijuana processing facility was only supposed to be a portion of the interior of the building.
Correct.
Okay. Is it still a portion or is it the?
Correct.
Okay, sorry.
So it went through all that at the same time, still negotiating with the right of way easement. At some point, from my understanding, there was, and I could be wrong, and you can correct me, there was a complaint or something that there was propane storage on the site. That's when Eddie first reached out and said that there was a problem and there was propane storage on the site. There was actual propane tanks filled with propane on the site, which the propane tanks, there's anywhere between 5 and 15 at any point, which are empty tanks that are stored there. And then once with no propane in them, they're completely empty, and they go off site and get installed into something that is getting built eventually. But then it turned into from Eddie that it was hazardous gas into the propane trucks and the building code about hazardous material. Again, I met with Eddie along with Eric. We sat down. We invited the regional director, safety director that came here and kind of gave you his spiel. Explained to Eddie the regulations, the rules, and what all the numbers are of the building code, which is quite extensive and hard to understand and figure out. With that, Eddie felt very good about what it was and that it was there. And at that point, we also talked about what the usage would be. And I agree with you that more traffic, things didn't get reviewed that might have been able to get reviewed, and if everything was known at that point of what that site was going to be and its complexity in the end. But they had bought this to try to figure that out, and it kind of came through that. In the meantime, again, they're still negotiating the driveway easement. At some point, Eddie says, you need to come in to here. Now, a couple different times I had asked Eddie, I said, why don't we sit down with Michael and we can find out what the opinion of the board or what is the best path forward for them to go in. And we never got together. Eddie, I'll truthfully said that you didn't want to meet, that the board should have a consensus and that it should be with the board and not with you personally. So I respect that and whatnot. Again, I would have known, I guess I could have reached out too. I would have known a lot more. In the meantime, then there's complaints about this right-of-way issue and it becomes more and more. At some point, Warren, you're in contact with the neighboring lawyer about this right-of-way issue. Even send emails or make suggestions that the applicant should put an escrow in for you to start charging. Is that fair to say?
No, it's not fair to say.
So are you in constant contact with the other party during these negotiations? Because what they feel like is, they feel like it's become a very hard to negotiate because the town is appearing to be on one side and not neutral.
We have nothing to do
I don't know
with
what
the
you're
easement. It's
talking
between two parties.
Hold on.
So why would the town attorney be contacting
Because they
you?
came
Like,
here,
Because they contacted us and said that they were having trouble negotiating the maintenance agreement and
So why would you then keep contacting them?
it's none of your business. That's all part of my, if I'm contacted by the attorneys who are
Do I
supposed to
need-
be doing a road maintenance agreement, I have to answer to you as to why I'm.
well, we was,
Find out the emails if I need to.
Oh, really? Okay, you do that.
well,
I'm just gonna say that I think the proper procedure is the zoning enforcement officer would come to the client, right? Which there's an application, there's 3 different applications that has an email, it has a phone number. It has everything on it to contact. All those procedures have not been correctly done, in my opinion. And I just feel like there should be a certain way to do things. It's
Both
not.
attorneys came here, the attorney for your client and the attorney for the neighbor came to a meeting here.
And they
like
contacted-
4 or 5
and they
months ago.
contacted me.
What was that? Do you know when that was?
Both attorneys contacted me.
Both attorneys contacted.
Get your facts straight before you come to a meeting and start talking.
All right,
I'm not listening to
you
it.
good.
I
don't
think
know-
it should be.
I'm sorry, you really know what you're talking.
I think it should be done in an appropriate way, Warren.
I disagree with that characterization. So I don't know, I don't think there's anything inappropriate. We were sitting here. I mean, unless, if you have stuff, send it, send it to us. But first of all, I was actually approached by the neighbor blaming the board for the disagreement that they had. In saying that we created the problem. And I went back and I showed them, the only mention I made is that we received a letter about the driveway. And they wanted to know what the state was doing with the driveway. And I communicated that to the neighbor. And then they actually came back the next month or week or whatever and met me here, like waiting for me in my office hours. And that's basically the same conversation. It's like, here's your email you sent. I mentioned at the meeting, we noticed the trucks basically when the use basically changed, when all of a sudden there was Crown gas trucks and Crown work trucks there. And then that's when Ed came to you, and I don't know, communication between Ed and Eric, you, et cetera. That seems accurate. I don't think I would look to speak for the board as far as the opinion on, but I mean, I would definitely have sat down just to tell you guys process wise, like what needs to happen. But as far as the opinion of the board, that this is a change in the use and not the use that we approved, I think is a pretty, I don't know, were you here on the board then, Scott? Yeah. It is not, we were under the impression, and like I said, I can show you the time codes, but we asked several times and it was campers and boats. Everyone said campers and boats. No one said propane truck. That didn't come out of anyone's, and at one point somebody asked, maybe it was Kate, I can't remember. I'd have to look it up and says, oh, no trucks. Because maybe we were talking about the apron at that point. I'm not sure. The apron, by the way, that is not, Ethan maybe asked about it during the meeting, but that's every application, we have to check that
I
box.
was just saying Ethan
Yeah.
would remember.
But Eric was very upset that Ethan asked about it, but that was not. It's every application, we have to check that box on the driveway.
I understand everything with the board. What I don't understand is that the applicant has been more willing and able to do whatever they can to do what they can according to the town regs, right? So if the board felt like they were in violation, right? And then Eddie should issue a violation letter, and then they come and address that exact violation, right? They gave them an apparent, there could be a violation. Why don't you come in and do it? And then at that point, it's all the negotiation with the right of way in a very heated time, right? Like, and it makes it.
But the apparent I mean, so you're blaming us for not being.
I'm not.
I'm not blaming you. I'm saying that we're not being hard. You know, you're asking for a harder you know. Eddie comes and says, okay, you got to shut the cease and desist. You're in violation. That's apparent order of apparent violation gives the applicant the time to put the amended application in. And without having shut down what he's got going on there.
The amended
And if-
application isn't a threat contingent upon some agreement regarding the easement.
No, there's two separate issues.
But I think maybe the people you're representing think that those things are connected.
But I mean, the driveway maintenance agreement, the easements, right? That's every application we do when we have easements. That has to be submitted. So technically, we kind of let it go. We didn't catch it that agreement wasn't fixed or whatever that had to happen at the time of the original application.
Right, but that is not a requirement according to the zoning code. And what my thing would be to you and to any other lawyer or anybody in the building is somebody, you can't say somebody can't do something even though they have the right to get to their property, get off their property and drive whatever they want, whether it's a dually tractor pulling 5,000 gallons of liquid crap or whether it's an oil tank. You cannot say you cannot change your business or do anything at your business because you can't get the neighbor to sign off, even though you have a written agreement that's approved by the court and slammed down with a gavel at a.
I'm not sure. We'd have to ask Warren why every application we do, he has to see the driveway maintenance agreement and the easement to make sure that the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. We'd have to hear from Warren why that is. There could be case law or you know behind it or just statute would be.
It's smart to have. It's smart to have. But if it becomes that you can or cannot do something because of it, then think about what the implications are because of that. Just using your own, everybody's common sense, right? Like you can't say you can't do anything because you don't have that as a town, right? So they've been doing their due diligence trying to do it. But what has made it difficult is the contact and everything going on. So what I'm here to say.
What happened? Well, we had the attorney here like 3 months. What month was that?
A while back.
April or May, and then
Josh Mackey, yes.
And then he was like, "Oh, I'm not the attorney anymore." I've seen the correspondence. And then there's this Jeff Rothschild. And so we thought we were gonna have to deal with him and ask him, okay, you come in now. and Maggie stood here, so you just want an amended site plan? And we're like, yes, that's all we've been asking for, because he thought we were trying to shut everything down, which we were trying to avoid. Okay, we're trying to avoid saying, hey, shut it down. All right, which is why the apparent notice of violation. So then he came, so then it was like Jeff, and then now Jeff's like, no, I'm not the attorney. Go back to Maggie for that portion of it. Yeah, I'm the attorney negotiating the easement. And go back to Maggie, and then he's like, "Oh, so we're being pretty patient and waiting." He said, "I'm vacation. I'll come next month." So I don't know what. I mean, you can send me what you think is inappropriate, and I'll whatever. But I saw a lot of the communication between Warren and nothing seemed inappropriate to me on his face. But I mean. I'm pointing out a few months.
So let me ask the consensus of the board. Do you want obviously a amended site plan, right? And to go through that process. The problem that it creates that if you're telling the client that the only way he gets it amended site plan is with this driveway maintenance agreement. Now you've
Well,
created,
technically,
you've
right,
now created a hardship where during the negotiations, it makes it very hard. So I would like you to think as a board, how you would like me to proceed. Do you want me to proceed and bring a site plan before you now? Do you want me to continue to try to do this, but maybe it never happens? Do you want to find out from Warren if it's absolutely needed and then maybe wipe it off of this application and say, when you can do it, please do it as soon as possible, but there's got to be some sort of way forward for me to proceed for the clients to be able to figure out a way forward.
well, I mean, I will look to hear from Warren why that is required or why he asked for it with all the applications. You know, I understand that it creates a negotiating point for the neighbor, you know, a leverage on the neighbor, by the neighbor, but like technically they didn't have to negotiate a new easement. They just had to show the driveway maintenance agreement and the easement was all squared away during the first application, but apparently it wasn't, right?
No, they have a deeded right of way for ingress and egress. It was created in 1955, which is 10 feet off the property line. And the easement that's used is about 15 to 20 feet off the property line. So to get inside that right of way thing, they would have to modify the driveway, which they have the right to do, and they can do that. They were trying to avoid that and keep it the same way. You can go on parcel
Okay.
aerial access and look over the years, but again, it's
So
going.
somehow through the years, the driveway kind of moved over.
Driveway was always the same. I believe the intent was in the beginning to be where it was, but it wasn't written correctly, or wasn't wide enough to be there. But they do have a exclusive right in their deed, which is also in the neighbor's deed that says that right is there to go in and out.
10 feet, but not,
Now,
but not in the exact place where the driveway currently is.
And what there is not is the driveway maintenance agreement is who's gonna pay for the potholes, who's gonna pay for the maintenance, which which Scene has done since they were in that building. Filling in all the potholes, taking care of the apron, taking care of all that, and incorporating all those costs. But I'm not gonna get into the particulars of
Yeah, again,
going back and forth there.
to a private party.
Path forward, that's all.
So what's the holdup in submitting an amendment? And
Well,
submitting
he's
the-
saying that if he submits an amendment, then the neighbor's gonna feel they have leverage to hold over the. But I mean, it's not,
A public hearing, is that why? How is the leverage applied?
because then if we say, hey, we need to see the driveway maintenance agreement, they're, oh, well, we're not gonna give it to you unless you do X, Y, Z or pay me X, Y, Z. That's the argument, I said. It should have been taken care of at the very beginning when they ever had the drive. Did they start negotiating right when the original application or no, or they
Yes.
did?
Yeah.
So it went off the rails right at the beginning.
No, it seemed like it was gonna be fine, and then it was, yeah, I don't wanna get into the
Right.
particulars
No, you don't
because I
have
can't.
But I mean, it's like, why was it just taken care of like at the beginning and then? Yeah, I mean.
Do you wanna think about it and then me come back to the next meeting and then find out a path forward, or email me, or? I mean,
Well, I'll correspond with Warren and then if I have to, I'll send emails to the board. Yes, but like, we did tell the attorney Mackey that, we want to see him next month. With and again, I guess I understand what you're saying, but he agreed like, oh, you just want an amendment, it seemed very reasonable. And he seemed to understand what the issue was. It's again, I'm not gonna speak for the board, anyone wants to opine at the moment, but like, this is light industrial area. This use doesn't seem, outside the bounds, not like a neighborhood or something like that, but we can't just let. People just start, major uses without,
I completely understand.
Scott, what's up?
No, I'm
Oh, I
good.
thought you raised your hand.
No,
Okay.
Just making a motion to adjourn.
All right. Did we get motion to approve the minutes? I'll chew on.
Yeah, meeting's great. Now we go.
Thank you for your time, everyone.
But, yeah. And again, like I said, I won't talk for the board, but if it has something like that, call me and like, I can tell you process wise, like what needs to be happening or whatever.
I mean,
You know that.
I dealt with Eddie quite a bit and I thought that Eddie was relaying, it doesn't matter, yeah.
It's game of telephone, but I did tell Eddie that we wanted, he was supposed to communicate, which I think he kind of did, was that we wanted to see an amendment or the applicant come back in, explain what's going on, All right, the minutes, did everyone get to review the minutes? Anyone need to look at them? Can I have a motion?
You do.
Oh, okay. Can I have a motion? To approve the minutes.
So.
Second, yeah, third.
All right, wait, so Ethan and, okay,
Oh, man.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, minutes are approved.